Hello again, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to the show. It is Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
And together we do this each and every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, as we help you in your journey to head back to the window. We have a special guest with us today. You know him, you love him. He's over there on Just Parlays with Chris King. It's the one and only Jim Williams. What's up, Jimmy?
Well, not too much. It's been a crazy weekend. How about what went on over the weekend with the NFL? I mean, who would have thunk it, right? Who would have thought that we were going to have that kind of crazy in Kansas City, and frankly, that kind of ugly but still crazy in Los Angeles.
2 number 4 seeds going to face off in the Super Bowl for the first time ever.
Yeah, since they started seeding it.
And I know you're a Tampa guy, so as a Chiefs fan, we just delayed the disappointment for 1 week from you. So
fair enough. I mean,
ugly.
It was an ugly game. But that's, I mean, if you're Cincinnati and if you're, if you're down there and with the 49ers, that's the kind of games you want to play. And the Rams found a way to get by and get into the Super Bowl. So there you go, boys and girls, right?
Well, Tart dropping the interception was huge for the Niners. That was just absolutely,
it was right there. But,
quick reminder, guys, and I know we've talked a little bit about it in the past. A lot of stuff going on in the sports betting market. It seems like when New York opened, all the offers just kind of accelerated. So we're going to talk about this here real quick, and we'll try to keep you guys updated on all the offers that we've got going on. So the first one you see there is try BetMGM. We've talked about MGM in the past. Scott and I fell in love with them over baseball season. They have some of the friendliest numbers around, so definitely check those out. For new customers only, MGM is offering you a $1,000 risk-free bet. Hit the state you're in, hit register, enter and verify personal information, of course, and enter the promo code. This is important. Video winners, win required. So make sure you got that in there. Video winners, all one word. And of course, Reed offers T&C terms and conditions for setting up your account. Finish the process. Set up your new Sportsbook account. Make a deposit of at least $10. At least $10, as they say in Oh Brother, Wherefore Art Thou? And put your first real money wager on any sport market you would like to do. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you get it back. What could be an easier deal? Maximum amount, like I said, $1,000. Be credited to your account within 24 hours, and the bet will expire 7 days after being issued to your account and cannot be withdrawn for real cash. And of course, this is a link is in the show box, so make sure you check that. We've got all the links down there in the show box in the description of the video, so make sure you check it out. Of course, you must be 21. Available in some of our very favorite states: Arizona, New Jersey, New York, Indiana, Colorado, Tennessee, West Virginia, Iowa, Virginia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., and Wyoming. Of course, always wager wisely. And I know what you're saying. What if I'm in New York or Louisiana? Well, there you go. In New York, in Louisiana, they'll match up to $1,500 when you put in $50 or more. The video, and this is for Caesars, by the way. This is not MGM. And you put in the code Video Winners CZR. It's kind of the, I believe that's the stock symbol for Caesars. I'm not positive, but I think it is. And of course, there's the website as well. If you want to do a screen capture of that. And all other states, it's 1,001 matched. So check out your locations in the box. And finally, for all you coon asses down there in Louisiana, BetRivers. Going to give you a bonus match up to $250 with your first deposit in using their app. So there you go. I think that about covers it. So make sure you take advantage of those offers indeed. Scott, got a couple of comments here to get started. James S. on Colorado, Notre Dame tonight. I like Notre Dame. I don't know about Colorado. They are just too inconsistent for me. David Good, something about right up your alley, Scott. He wants to know if you would consider doing a tennis betting tutorial. I guess touching on like laying the sets, going the overs and unders with the games involved, and everything there. So, and then JC Stone says, talking about tennis is one of the easiest ways to make money. So there you go. And so I'm sure that's got David even more excited. So yeah, we'll We could definitely do that. Hey, the Dominators here. What's up, David? David Hess in the house. David's been hotter than hell lately on his picks, so make sure you check those out. David Good, speaking for a lot of us with the Super Bowl, I said I hope both teams lose. Since we have just parlays, remember, can we address the bet stealing? We kind of did, Zach. It was all kind of in good fun. We will never take the Islanders again. Sorry, Chris and Jim. It'll never happen again. Tucson in the house, still warm out there, I'm assuming, Dave. James Mounts here. The Big X is here, and David says, "Go Irish!" Yeah, Hess, I know you're a Golden Domer. CSU at Wyoming. Scott, you and I talked about that briefly for the farm. You want to talk about the Wyoming Cowboys? Two very good teams there in the Mountain West, and this is kind of one of those huge games in the regular season that could determine who pulls down that second or third spot there in the Mountain West. You got any feelings on this one?
Well, we talked about it on the live stream yesterday when we were talking about the best teams in college basketball or the best conferences in college basketball. And, of course, the Mountain West is not going to be 1, 2, or 3, or hell, even 5 on that list. But they are an underrated conference as a whole. Boise 17-4, Wyoming 16-3, Colorado State 16-2. Oh, and by the way, San Diego State pretty good as well, and they're 11-5. They got a lot of good teams in the conference. And I think if you want to look at the current form of both teams, Colorado State's been playing well. They have won 5 of their last 6. But Wyoming has also been really good because they're 5-1 in conference play. And if you go down the line recently, they had a very nice buzzer beater win against Air Force. I know Air Force isn't a great team, but at home that team is pretty good.
Tough team.
But Wyoming has won 7 of their last 8. They're playing good ball. It seems like a spot where the question is, do I really want to lay 1.5 with Colorado on the road following a 14-point home loss to UNLV? And I'm going to say no. So I think it's Wyoming or pass for me.
Yeah, the UNLV game, that's a bad look because that team is not good at all. Jim, you got any thoughts on this one?
Well, like you guys, I've been a big fan of Colorado State. I thought they've done some pretty amazing stuff, and Wyoming too. If I had to make a bet, I would go for Colorado State. But where they're playing is it
at Wyoming?
It's
at Wyoming. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I have a hard time.
How many? Yeah, no, I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't go.
Yeah, I would.
It's a toss up basically.
If I was going to play anything there, I'd probably look at the total of the under.
Yeah,
that's all I'm looking.
2 teams that really play good defense. The game against UNLV, I think you've got to just toss that out because other than that,
CSU is one of the top teams in the country in free throw shooting.
Yep. Oh, they're very good from the line.
That's so they're going to give you trouble in close games, but I don't know. I think I'd have to stay away from that.
Yeah, they shoot 79.1% from the line as a team. That ain't too shabby at all. No. So, what else we got? People asking about. People got beat by one guy in that UNLV game. Brad Crawford checking in says it's been a little late. He's got the Chiefs hangover mode. Anything to help me overcome the loss of being a Chiefs fan. Yeah, I get that, dude.
Drinking.
Drinking. We talked about it yesterday. Having the last 2 years of success has really kind of helped just temper some of the disappointment. I'm ready for baseball.
60 days to opening. What do you think the chances are that we have an opening?
80%.
Okay.
I think
we're talking about 80% that we're going to have it at all, or 80% we're going to have it on time.
80% on time.
Okay.
100% they have a season. I think we were talking about this before the show, Jim.
Yeah.
I don't think that after losing the revenue that they did in 2020, the owners can afford to take another year off.
No, I don't think the players can either.
No, they've got to get it worked out.
So, but I think the biggest situation right now would be spring training.
Yeah, I feel like that's the point. I think that they're going to have a season pretty much regular starting time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start maybe a week or 2 behind for when pitchers and catchers start to report, for example.
Well, if you remember in 94 after that situation, the judge in the case in 95 was now Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And she ordered the work stoppage to end. And they missed the first couple, I think it was the first week or 2 of spring training. That's kind of the way you figure it's going to go. Sometime in March, they'll get this thing done if they want to open in April.
Right, and that was after punting. That was after punting the World Series in '93, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they still hadn't worked it out by '94. I remember that. I forgot '94 was in danger too.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was talking to Scott, and we'll get to you guys' comments here in just a second. Oh, thanks, Bill. We appreciate it. Yeah, we had fun doing the broadcast, but we talked about that a little bit about how so much of the ownership has changed. Either the owners have obviously died off, they've sold their teams, so there may not be as many guys around that remember how many people absolutely just quit baseball after '93, after they missed the World Series.
There were a lot.
They just said, "Fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done with baseball." And some of them never came back. So I don't think baseball is in a strong enough position to start bleeding fans away and losing TV.
Well, no, and they, they're just kind of getting stuff back. They're kind of getting some of these
Right.
fans back, and you've got some really outstanding young players. I mean, there's so many good reasons not to screw this up.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony is that for the most part of the time
I'm
that
not
this has
here.
been going, you've been getting, it's been Fred Manfra who's been the guy who's, or not Fred,
Rob.
Rob
Rob
Manfra.
Manfred. Yeah.
Rob has been the guy who's been the one who's done a wonderful job of getting it straight, right? But this time, not so much. I think they'll figure it out, but I think it's going to take them a little time. And I think the owners are trying to get back a lot of the money that they lost. And the players are like, well, that's cool, but, we still have to be in there because they want some sort of revenue share deal. And, right now, they're I think both sides want to get the deal done, but, they're also not going to budge a lot. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's kind of be interesting to see who blinks. David Good down there in Tucson said players often come out to Arizona mid-January. I think they're showing up now, but not so public. That's interesting that the players.
Well, a lot of those guys live down there, or in the same case in Florida. So you're going to have a lot of guys, in Florida, just practicing together.
I think it's also a matter of course, since you're assuming even with the lockout potential, etc., most likely a deal will get done at some point. So you don't want to mess up your entire off-season routine. So I do think that even if it's supposed to be on the private, that you're not actually going to practice and going to whatever. I mean, it is your job. You're getting paid millions of dollars for it. If you think that there's really not much of a chance that the season will be canceled, then you should just stick to your normal routine. So that doesn't exactly surprise me that they're going to a warmer climate to throw some pitches.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, a lot of these guys work out anyway together in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and by the way, one of the fun parts of this is both in Florida as well as in Arizona, IMG has a sports academy. So it's
Not
quite
surprising.
possible that some of these guys are going to go, all right, cool, let's do the IMG thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if that's, part of it too.
Scott Nowak talking about yesterday took a beat on the games. The only bright spot was his Burrow over 8.5 rushing yards and Tyreek over 76. Yeah, nicely.
I think the football games besides the Chiefs and the over, I think I pretty much cleaned house. The props, I think, all won. Even the live prop of Garoppolo interception at like plus 175 in the third quarter. That also cashed.
Yep.
So yeah, the props were good.
Props, are the props out for the Super Bowl yet? When do they usually come out?
I can
later
check.
Usually about a week out, you'll start seeing them. And now it could be like everybody now with competition, they're coming out earlier and earlier. So I'll have Rachel do the deep dive there. David Good, my KC guy, talking about Bobby Witt Jr. coming. He's going to be good. He's going to be very good. Keep an eye on this Royals team. I keep telling you guys, they got young arms and they've got some boppers. So they are. I'm looking for them to maybe be 500 this year. I would put their win total somewhere between 79 and 84.
I see props, by the way.
I think in 23 they compete for the championship. Got props, buddy?
Yeah. Any specific thing you want to know, or am I just reading them off?
No, I'm just kidding. What grabs your attention?
I have to do a bigger deep dive.
First glance, I know.
Yeah, first glance, I am looking at Stafford. His passing yards is currently set at 278.5. That seems a bit low to me because I do think that Stafford, based on how they've played up to this point in the playoffs, they've been willing to let him air it out. You saw what he did against Tampa Bay, what he did yesterday against the 49ers. It does seem like Stafford has really just gelled well, of course, with Kupp. That's obvious. But even with Odell at 100+ yards for the first time since 2018, I do think they have a lot of weapons out there, which is obvious, but I have questions if Cincinnati can fully contain all of them. I doubt it. So I do think that if you're looking at a Stafford passing yard situation, 178.5 for a dome game does sound pretty light. I expect over money to come in. I think he'll probably push around 300. You?
Yeah, I think that sounds solid. I'm just laughing here. Magellan Sports puts in Stafford interception. It's never too early to get down on the fucking Stafford interception prop. You've hit one in a row, Scott. Are you ready to rock and roll now?
Potentially. Truth is, I'm actually tempted by Burrow interception in the Super Bowl just because I know the Chiefs only recorded, I believe it was 1 sack in the game.
Yep.
They should have had about 5.
Yep.
But we saw a couple of scrambles there by Burrow.
Yep.
That's going to be the main talking point that you're going to have leading up to the Super Bowl and why a lot of people are going to take the Rams. It's because with Aaron Donald up front, Von Miller, everybody like that, can Cincinnati's offensive line hold up? Most people say no. I do think that you will see Burrow be rushed in the pocket. We know the Rams are opportunistic on defense. I do think Burrow's going to throw a pick. I think he's a great player, but I do think that even we saw in the Kansas City game, he threw a pick, could have been 2. The other one went through the Chiefs guy's hands. But when he gets pressured, he occasionally forces some passes, and I do think that whatever the price is, if Burrow's going to be minus 110 or plus money to throw a pick, I don't mind really betting on both quarterbacks to throw an interception.
We need to work on the snap portion of your snap cap.
I wasn't a snap cap. You asked me games that I didn't look at the props yet for. That's your fault.
As always, it all comes back to me. Jim, any early thoughts on the Super Bowl? Who you like? Any props?
Well, I like the Rams. I do. I think that, but Scott brings up a good point. The Rams, are weak in the back, but I think if they can get pressure on Burrow, I mean, he was sacked, 9 times against the Tennessee defense that doesn't have the front 4 or the front 7 for that matter that the Rams have. So early on, I like that, and the idea of both guys throwing interceptions, I think Scott's on point with that too.
Well, Burrow's been great, but you got to remember against Tennessee and Kansas City, he's thrown an interception. So it's not like he's playing completely, I'd say,
no, he's not playing error-free football.
That's what I'm saying. So he has been taking some chances, which you want to see, because, of course, when you have Chase in that receiving core, you're going to air it around. But the fact that he's throwing a pick in back-to-back playoff games, despite the great run this team is currently on, I do think is pretty telling that whatever Burrow's price is to throw a pick might be underpriced.
Yeah.
Zodwick's not worried. He's a Cincy guy. He says he's got a nice Cuban waiting for him if he wins. To me, when I hear he's got a nice Cuban waiting for him, I either think of like a hooker, or I think of a sandwich that has pork, ham, dill pickles, and Swiss cheese on it.
Are those all mutually exclusive, or can you overlap?
No, you could. Okay. I think you could do all 3. I think you could find you a nice Cuban lady. You could have a Cuban sandwich, finish it off with a Cuban cigar. It's all Cubano night. So,
and basically all that done in the invention of the Cuban sandwich in Ybor City in Tampa, where,
is that right?
Yeah, it's where the Cuban factory workers used to make cigars.
Oh, nice. And, hey, real quick. Hey, David, good luck, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Hope everything goes well. We'll see you tomorrow. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that. So basically, it's a fun situation, and yeah, I was thinking maybe he's got Gloria Estefan waiting for him. I don't know. From that, so,
yeah, pretty much. Yes.
No, it's going to be fun. I mean, it'll be a good Super Bowl. It's after all those years of nobody playing in at home in the Super Bowl, we get back to back
2 in a row. 2 in a row.
I really don't have any rooting interest though, because I guess I'm rooting for the Bengals just because of the underdog story. I like Burrow. I also like the Stafford story. So it's one of those rare Super Bowls
Yeah.
where I really am kind of rooting for both teams in a way because I don't have anything against either team.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yep. No, it does. And you know, there's compelling storylines, Scott, in both of them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the all those years in exile in Detroit for for Matt Stafford. You've got that whole situation with Joe Burrow and the young the young team in Cincinnati that just keeps winning despite the fact that nobody ever thinks they're going to win. So yeah, you've got. It's kind of funny because you almost have two underdogs playing.
Yeah, you really do.
You do. I feel like if I had to look at the spread now, I'd probably lean Cincy, just because I do think this game's going to be close. And the Rams, even though they're of course in the Super Bowl, they've done enough. They really have not done a great job at limiting the self-inflicted wounds, whether it involves interceptions, turnover on downs, really conservative play calling in the second half. Now, they got away with it because Shanahan was even more conservative in the second half, and he pretty much blew the game for San Francisco when they punted on 4th and 2 at plus territory. But I do think that the Bengals make enough adjustments, it seems like at halftime, to at least hang around in most games. This game has a field goal vibe to me, kind of like how the Rams 49ers did last game. So I'm going to go with the Bengals plus the points. 4 seems a bit much to me. If it was Rams 2.5, I'd probably consider the Rams.
Well,
but at
it's
4,
really money. Where do you think
it's
going to end up? If it's 4 right now, you think it's going to end up at 3 or 2?
Truth is no.
It won't go through 3. It might get to 3.5.
If I had to guess, I'd say it's going to close at 3.5 or 4 because I feel like a lot of sharps, or even just the public, are going to pick the Rams because on paper they have the better roster, and Cincinnati's offensive line gives PTSD to half the better. So I think you'll see people support the Rams. I'm just not doubting Burrow plus the points. I feel like they're a bit undervalued.
I'm going to address a couple things here, and then we'll do our segments real quick. Somebody asked about Buffalo plus 750 to win the Super Bowl. I'll tell you what, if you like that, you're never going to get a better price. That price is going nowhere but down. So I don't hate it.
I have to pass on that.
IC said bold statement: Mahomes never wins another Super Bowl. I'll tell you what, if he does, the path is going to be a lot more difficult than it was this year. They missed a golden opportunity. Scott, you and I talked about it before the show. Once again, the number 1 seed ends up falling in their lap as Tennessee loses, and they get to play at home all the way through the playoffs and piss it away. So against the team that I don't think under the best of circumstances you can say Cincinnati is as good as Kansas City right now. But the better team doesn't always win. Sometimes the better team shoots themselves in the foot, as the Chiefs did yesterday. So, hey, let's talk about some other things that went on, guys. Let's get to it as we do here. Start the Monday edition with the people that took it in the shorts. You know who you are. There's a few of us out there. There really are in the Monday edition of Call the Cops. All right, pull that offense over, Chiefs. Jesus. Hey, speaking of that game, if you had Joe Mixon under 60.5 rushing yards, if you were playing my player prop parlay with us there that I had as my play of the day, well, he had 60 yards at the end of regulation. He kept going backwards, but he ended up with 60. You're like, oh, that's good. Oh, no. Certainly they're going to give him the ball. Yeah, they gave him the ball a lot in overtime, including a questionable fumble. He ended up finishing with 88 rushing yards. That's 60.5 is just a memory. If you had the under there, call the cops.
And if you had Jimmy G under half an interception, I think it was plus 115. He had 0 picks with less than 2 minutes to go.
Let's go.
He's trying to avoid a sack. You see him scrambling. Can I interest you in a backwards half shovel pass while he's falling to the floor? Intercepted. You lose the bet.
And it bounced. Remember, it bounced off the 49er guy and right in the hands.
Yeah, hit him right in the hands too. But Garoppolo running backwards, throwing a prone Mahomes-like backwards pass. That's not what you're looking for.
I give Jimmy G 0 blame for that. That was a spectacularly athletic play. Backhand falling to the ground, hit the guy right in the hands.
Right.
He just wasn't expecting. It looks like a center that was catching a pass in the lane that he just didn't expect it coming.
I'm not blaming Garoppolo for that play. I'm just acknowledging that even if it was completed, it would have been 4th and 25. But either way, it's an interception.
And if you had T. Higgins in the Chiefs-Bengals game, you might notice that T. Higgins spent a good deal of time matched up with young Nick Bolton, which is exactly what you want. T. Higgins going against a linebacker. Well, at least we shut Chase down, so there's that. Anyway, if you had him under 5.5 receptions, yeah, you did a good job. He had 4 receptions. They got some yards, but he had 4 receptions at the end of regulations.
Hey, before I leave, let me ask Scott Rochelle one quick question, if you don't mind. Did you see the Australian Open final?
I watched the entire thing.
Okay. Was what Nadal did one of the most amazing things you've seen in tennis in years?
I had money on Medvedev, so I'm going to go ahead and say it was. Considering the fact that I followed tennis for a long time,
right?
It was pound for pound the greatest comeback win I've ever seen in tennis.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of matches. Like, that's an all-timer where I lost money, but if I was viewing it from an unbiased perspective, it's potentially the greatest comeback in the history of the sport.
Yeah, it was wild. 5 hours, they was down 2 sets.
Yeah.
And came back and won 21.
Medvedev was rolling in that match for about the first 90 minutes. And then Nadal was serving for the second set, got broken, lost in the breaker. I thought he was dead to rights. I thought it was over. I thought he was going to lose in 3 because he gave everything he had in that second. And I thought that mentally it would just wear him down. Props to Nadal because he really just buckled down, and Medvedev started having some leg issues, but Nadal, it was phenomenal. Great job by him.
Thanks. Hey, boys, have a great show. I'll sneak out here.
Thanks for stopping by, Jim.
And don't forget, pleasure.
Check out Jim right here on the Winners and Whiners Sports Betting Network as he does his show with his pal Chris King every day, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 Central. Just parlay.
We are the lead-in to the epic program that is. In
network TV, we'd be actually sitting in the rocking chair, Jim. We'd have that bottom out of the half hour.
Somebody's got to lead into it, boss. So we'll do our best.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it.
Have a great day.
We'll talk at you guys later. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Bye.
Cool.
All right, there he goes. Jim Williams, everybody. Good dude. Good dude. Knows his sports too. Anyway, so if you had T. Higgins, you know what happened. 5.5, had 4 in regulation. Can I interest you 2 catches in overtime? Of course. Finishes with 6. Call the cops.
Definitely not a fun time to have player prop unders in a game that goes to overtime.
Not good. Well, you know what? There was some good news. For every loser, there must be a winner, Scott. So let's talk about them a little bit. You know who you are. You had that sweet action, never a doubt, as you were sitting in. Where were you sitting, Scott? You're sitting in the rocking chair.
So the first one was actually my play of the day. Who organizes this thing? It was Matt Stafford. Over half an interception. Threw a pick less than 9 minutes into the game. Should have been 2. Tart dropped the other one, but it doesn't matter. Point is, if you had Stafford to throw a pick, never in doubt.
All right, very good. And if you had Patrick Mahomes, a longest completion over 39.5 yards, first quarter when that offense was rolling, threw a 44-yard pass to Hardman. Perfect pass, hit him right in stride. Beautiful thing. Congratulations. You didn't have to watch the rest of that game. God bless you.
Well, I had that prop in the game against the Bills, and it was 36.5, I believe, for that game. But Mahomes, I believe, has gone over the longest completion in 11 straight games.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't matter anymore because, sorry to remind you, the Chiefs got eliminated.
The streak's still alive.
The point is that the streak is still alive. That's been a pretty solid moneymaker for the last couple of months. But the last one, if you had Odell over 54.5 receiving yards, he went over with 10 minutes left in the third quarter, and he finished with 113 yards.
Yeah, we talked about Odell having a day. I talked about that at the beginning of the game, that I thought that Odell would maybe see some extra passes because they'd be able to stop Kupp. Well, I was half right.
Yeah,
he saw a lot of passes, but they didn't stop Kupp. They just let them both beat him. So yeah, not good at all. If you're a 49ers fan, they did nada to stop those 2 guys. All right, so we're getting close here. So we're just going to do this without a lot of fanfare, Scott. Donkey of the day. We talked about a little bit of this yesterday with Adam Schefter falsely reporting jumping the gun there on Saturday about Tom Brady's retirement. His dad had to come out and say, well, fuck, he ain't said nothing yet. So
shouldn't you try to contact the dad if you're gonna report that? Isn't that like the number one source you should go to?
Shouldn't you go to somebody?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you verify that somewhere? I mean, I know he's got his sources and everything, but I don't know. And he wants to position himself as the insider, the guy that gets all the scoop like Woj in the NBA. That's a bad look, buddy. That's a very, very bad look.
I mean, I feel like most people are going to kind of remember Schefter for this, for better or worse, especially if Brady does end up playing.
Yeah.
Like, if Brady retires a week from now, nobody's going to care. But I feel like if Brady comes back next year, I feel like nobody's going to take Schefter seriously the same way again. Now, of course, people are still going to follow him. They'll follow some of his stuff. You'll see the memes all over the place on Twitter. People kind of teasing him on Twitter in the comment section. But I do think
Steve Harvey 2.0.
But I do think that people are going to, well, at least when comparing insiders, maybe gravitate more to an Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, if you're going to get one thing right, it has to be the correct retirement announcement of arguably the best player of all time. Like, this is one of the biggest moments in the history of the league.
Right.
If you're an insider, you cannot butcher this.
Nope.
You can butcher the injury report for a preseason game, but not the retirement for potentially the greatest player of all time. That's inexcusable.
Yep. And on today's, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. You know what? I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to drag this out, but I'm playing.
We have to.
I'm playing. I don't know how we don't. I'm playing the fucking music here. Yeah, that's right. There you go, Chiefs fans. It's got to be the Chiefs blowing an 18-point lead in the second half against the Cincinnati Bengals in a home game with perfect weather, with the crowd fired up, no excuses from an external standpoint. Everything was going in their favor. And it looks like Mahomes just wasn't the same quarterback after he fucked up the end of the first half. And, he had even admitted that in his news conference. He talked about the fact that he got a little greedy, and those are his words. And, not only did it cost him the 3 points there, which apparently would have come in handy at the end of the game, it kind of sent him into a spiral for the second half. So, yeah, not good. Not good at all. The Chiefs were running the ball successfully, averaging about 6 yards a carry. They stopped running the fucking football. I didn't understand it. It's frustrating to watch a team this good being coached at times that poorly.
So I know that we've had this conversation before about NFL coaches and how there were really a handful that you actually trust late in games. Of course, Belichick's going to be one because he's won so many of them. I know that Harbaugh lost a couple of games with 2-point conversions. I still have him on a very short list of coaches I would trust in the final 2 minutes, especially when you have a backup quarterback with no secondary. I was fine with them going for 2 on 2 separate occasions. I thought that was okay. But Reed is one of the most interesting, I'd say, historical chokers in the history of the sport, because he finally got over the hump. He won the Super Bowl with Mahomes. Was it pretty? Absolutely not. They had to come from behind, and you had Shannon on the other side, who was also a really bad choker in the playoffs, which he did once again yesterday. But what are your thoughts on Reed? Because he had so many playoff failures with the Eagles. Then he had a couple with the Chiefs. He got field goaled to death by Pittsburgh in that one playoff game.
Yep.
And then he won a championship. And now you've had another year where his team had a great chance to win and then seemed to completely self-destruct in the second half. So I know you don't exactly have coaching power rankings, but do you have to move Reed down after a game like this? Because I feel like you have to have the discussion.
Yeah, you do. He's fixed. He used to be the guy you didn't trust in the last 2 minutes. And for the most part, he has fixed those problems. I don't know if it's having Bieniemy with him. I don't know what they've done structurally to fix that. They've had some really nice comebacks in the last 2 minutes of games. They've used the clock and their timeouts correctly. I have no beefs with that. What I have a beef with is inconsistent coaching half to half. And we talked about it in the middle of the season on our NFL show. about how the Chiefs' first quarter, first half was just about a lock there for the middle part of the season because those scripted plays were working so well. When they have to make adjustments and call plays on the fly, they seem to go down at least a level or two. So there's no question you have to take the bad with the good with Big Red, and you absolutely can't put him on that pantheon of the best coaches of all time, despite his record, because of the problems and the giveaways like that. Scott, somebody asking about the Boston Celtics tonight, minus 260 against Miami, minus 6 points. That has gone up. I believe it was 3.5 earlier. Jimmy Butler's out. There you go. That's what you wanted to know. So Lowry still remains out. Butler's out, and basically everybody's going to be
PJ Tucker
healthy.
also out.
PJ Tucker's also out. Correct. Boston is only going to be they're going to be pretty healthy for the first time in a while. Schroeder's back. Langford's back. So I think the Jimmy Butler being out is what's caused that line to move like that.
Yeah.
Plus,
Miami's off a triple overtime game, so there's also some fatigue in that angle.
Also true. Somebody on Duke tonight against Notre Dame. Where you come on the Fighting Irish there, Scott?
Well, I was going to finish my point on Miami.
Okay, yeah,
Boston favored by that much. I still like Miami. I know they're missing a bunch of guys. We've seen that the Heat are still the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, despite missing Butler for periods of time, Lowry for periods of time, even Adebayo for periods of time. This team just finds ways to win games. And Boston is not very good. And I know that they have the talent to win this game handily. They are one of the worst fourth quarter teams in the league. So I still like Miami plus the points, despite missing as many guys as they are, just because I really don't trust Boston laying 6.5. It's on principle for me.
I know. You're anti-Boston.
Am I wrong? I mean, Boston's burned people a lot of money this year.
I know. I get it. And Miami's been able to cover. I just think it's a bad spot for Miami.
I like the under. I think you're in a good spot for a lower scoring game.
Agreed. James S. What did I miss? I was buying weed. That's excellent. LAV says Burrow, number 1 quarterback draft pick, going to be winning Super Bowl in second season. It's certainly possible. We've seen the Rams play some shitty football.
I think the Bengals are extremely live because even in that game yesterday, the Rams, it felt like outplayed the Niners for about 3 quarters.
Mm-hmm. And
they were still trailing by double digits in the fourth quarter.
Yep, agreed. Duke Notre Dame tonight, buddy. Notre Dame hot, sizzling hot, man. 110 of 11.
I'm taking the points at home. I don't know how I'm not supposed to take Notre Dame at home.
Yep. Yeah, it's all the Boston owes me so much. Just J.R. Black. Yeah. I think they would owe you too if you hadn't gotten off of them. You got off the train last year.
I lost early in the year, and I realized, wait a second, this team stinks. And as soon as I realized that, it's like a light bulb went off in my head and said, if they're laying a decent amount of points, or even if they're leading going into the fourth quarter, just a live bet of fade, because in the fourth quarter, they are atrocious.
Well, they fucked me from both sides. I've tailed them and faded them, and they've done exactly the opposite of what I wanted to do, because they have the capability of playing really good basketball. They've got some pieces on that
for 3 quarters, but yeah.
No, for 4 quarters. I'm telling you, dude, I've faded Boston because obviously, if you hate Boston and you think they suck, then you're going to fade them every time. That doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because they have talent. They're able to jump up and surprise you. So yeah, you never know. Scott Nowak sums it up. He says, you never know what Celtics team is going to show up. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's not that the Celtics are a bad basketball team. I mean, they're borderline. They're going to make the playoffs barely. They're not going to be a top 4 seed.
They'll be a play-in team. I'm not sure they'll actually get into the bracket, but they will be in the
They're going to be right on the cusp. Yeah, they're going to be right in that 6, 7, 8 range. Right there. I totally agree.
I think it's just blindly handing me 6.5 with Spoelstra all day, every day.
Yeah, as far as this game tonight goes, Notre Dame, I don't like Notre Dame's depth. They really only use 7 players in the rotation. They don't really have a backup big man.
Does Duke have any depth?
Well, I mean, they play 8?
Kinda, except I'm sure most people who listen can't name any bench players on the team because, of course, Banchero gets most of the reputation. I'm a big Mark Williams guy. I think he's very good on the inside. Besides that, I really don't like many of their other players, if any of their other players. Do you like anybody else? I think Moore's okay.
Yeah, I was going to mention more.
Is that it?
For me, this game. Well, I'm just going to tell you, if you've got an opportunity to bet live, and keep an eye on this game, because if Atkinson picks up a couple of fouls in the first half, I would pound Duke, because they have no answer in the middle. They can play small, and they can play small and try to have the big guys from Duke chase them around the perimeter. But I think for the most part, you've got to keep Atkinson out of foul trouble.
Well, sure, this Williams on Duke can really just walk into 20 and 15 if he wants it. If Duke feeds him enough and actually makes him a primary source of offense in this game, where they try to force feed a lob and some post touches, he could really just single-handedly destroy Notre Dame's entire game. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's certainly possible.
I'm still taking Notre Dame, though. Just the home team angle. Notre Dame especially has been really good at home. But even just Duke watching them play, I know they beat Louisville over the weekend. Louisville got rid of their coach. They're not very good. That game was close for about 35 minutes or so before Duke blew away late.
Yeah, they were tied. They were tied with 7-8 minutes left there in that game.
That's what I'm saying. It was close, and then Duke went on a massive run to eventually blow it open. But Duke lost to Florida State in a game I thought they should have won. The ACC just isn't very good this year. It's okay. It's not amazing, but Duke laying 5, I just think it's too many points.
And it's one of those games where you take a dog like that. Anytime you take a dog against a really good team, you run the possibility of looking like an absolute jackwagon, because Duke could come in there and play their very best game. Notre Dame could get in foul trouble, and they could lose by 20. But you've got to take the points in the spot. That's my thought.
Notre Dame beat Kentucky this season at home, right?
Notre Dame beat Kentucky at home. That is correct.
And we know Kentucky has the best rebounder in college for the last, 30 years.
Yep.
So the fact that they were able to absorb that and still beat Kentucky, I think they're pretty live to beat Duke tonight.
They can go small and have some success if the other team is slow to make the adjustments and to match up with them. I was going to parlay Duke money line with Memphis plus the points with no Embiid. You and I talked about that Memphis. That's one of those situations where there's been a 7-point swing in the line, right? Or 8. What is it now?
It was at 4. That was my play today. I got Memphis plus 4, and now they're minus 3.5. And people might say a 7.5-point line move for one player. What are you, nuts? I think the line should be closer to 6.
Yep.
I really don't know how Philly keeps this game close. You can talk about how one player's not supposed to be worth that many points. Embiid is worth all the points and more because he's just that good. And the supporting cast is not. It's also worth mentioning they played earlier this season. Embiid did not play in the first meeting, and Memphis won at home by 30-plus points. So I think Philly gets absolutely steamrolled in this game. Give me the Grizzlies winning this game by double digits. I really don't know how Philly keeps it close. Unless Tobias Harris goes nuts, which is pretty unlikely. You have Ja, Bane's good. Even Jackson and Adams are phenomenal rim protectors. I don't know if Philly's going to score. What are they supposed to do besides get hot from 3?
Yeah, it's all about Harris. If Harris isn't like just 30 plus,
Philly should get run out. I think you'd agree with that.
I would. I like the Grizz there, buddy. I really do.
I might put a bigger substantial play on the money line. I hammered the plus 4 pretty hard on the overnight because it was mostly 3.5. I found a 4 on Caesars, so I took it. But I might have to go back to the well with the money line there because I just feel like you're getting such a great deal getting one of the hottest teams in the league that's playing such a great brand of basketball right now against a Philly team that's been struggling against weaker opponents. They won games, but they were trailing against Sacramento. They were trailing against New Orleans. They have not looked great. And when Embiid's putting up 35 and 12 every single game, and you're still barely beating some of these bad teams, it means your supporting cast stinks.
Well, and Memphis has been fantastic as an underdog, which they were, and they've also been really good on the road. They're 17-7 ATS in the road on the road. Yeah. So you got to like that.
I like the money line, but Elliot, to answer your question, I would stay away from Duke money line. I really do like Memphis, but I do think that Duke is in a little bit of an upset alert tonight.
Yep, agreed. JC Stone asking about sacks for the Rams. Can they get 5 on Burrow?
Well, I'm trying to think what the number is, because I know that for sacks you can take alternatives.
It's probably
where you can usually find a 2.5 for a team, but you can usually find some alternative prices, 4.5 or 5.
I think it's
or take
3.5 for Burrow.
Or take individual players. And I think if you want to go for Donald to get a sack, I don't mind it. A Leonard Floyd, even a Von Miller, who of course won Super Bowl MVP. So we know he's not exactly afraid of the moment. They really should get after Burrow. They really should. Now, what Burrow did against the Chiefs, besides a run occasionally, was get rid of the ball quickly, which is kind of how you negate that, is if you get the defense to either A, expect a quick pass, or B, even throw in some screens, which were really successful against Kansas City yesterday. I think that's going to be the counter. But for 60 minutes, that defensive front should get to Burrow, I'd say, 4 times minimum.
Yeah, I think 4 is your number there.
Yeah.
Matthew Torvik says, I live in Memphis. It's super exciting to see the Grizz winning. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Memphis is a great town. I like a lot of things. Matthew, do they still play in the Pyramid, or have they moved on? You ever seen the Pyramid in Memphis, Scott? It's right there on the river.
Well, they're in the FedEx Forum now.
Is it renamed, or is it a different arena?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But I know they're in the FedEx Forum.
Okay, very good. Torn between taking Memphis to cover or just lay the 175 for the money line.
I think my advice for you, Elliot, is that if you are willing to just shell out money, regardless of what the odds are, just take the money line. If you're torn between the spread and the money line, you could always just bet more on the money line if you're that confident.
It's the title of our new show, Only Losers Pay Juice.
Just saying, because if you are not sure if they're going to cover 3.5, but you are pretty sure they're going to win the game, then why not just bet more on them to win the game?
Okay. Yeah, good.
That's my logic.
Matthew Torvik said the Pyramid is a Bass Pro now. Oh, dude. Yeah. I can see if I go out of my apartment, climb the hill, I can see Bass Pro from my house. So I'm a big fan. Scott, you ever been to Bass Pro?
Of course.
Have you? Where at? Where they
have? They have. Oh, you mean the store?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have at a mall in New York.
Oh, okay. Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's a. If you ever get a chance to go to one of the standalones, they're really cool, dude, with the big aquarium and all the shit in there. Yeah, very good. All right, man. Let's get rocking here, buddy. You and I need to rally, brother. We'd been hot. We started talking about how hot we were, and then boom, we've
what happened? We lost 1 in a row.
I know. Well, you know what? Ooh. We're like the Chiefs, buddy. We're used to putting those strings together. Anytime we lose, it's a surprise. So it's back to you today, my friend. We had Charlotte, and it
looked really good, and then they blew a 20-point lead.
And Andy Reid stepped in and said, we need to take the air out of the ball. And they blew a 20-point lead. So let's get to it, my friend. Let's find out what we've got cooked up for today. It's Monday, but we're ready to rock and roll. So put your straw hats on, put your overalls on, strap them up. You might see some company, so make sure you got your overalls, both straps done, and get ready. Once you climb aboard your tractor, your John Deere, not your Husqvarna, no, your John Deere, the mean green, get up there, and get ready to bet the farm. All right, no banjo music today, Scott. Get it started for us, buddy. It's back to you.
So we're going to go back to college, and we're going to look at a matchup between Drexel and UNC Wilmington. And UNC Wilmington's been one of my favorite teams so far this season. We're going back to them. We're taking them on the money line at around -122. Wilmington's been one of the hottest teams in the country. They've won 11 in a row, and they are 10-1 ATS during that stretch. So that tells me the odds makers have really mispriced this team for the entire season. Drexel has lost 4 of its last 7 games. Wilmington is 8-0 straight up in conference games, currently the best team in the CAA. And UNC Wilmington is 8-1 straight up and 6-1 ATS at home. You're just going to give me the best team in the conference at home at a -122 on the money line against a team that's lost 4 of 7? Sure. Thank you. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Lock it up. UNC Wilmington Seahawks on the money line, -122. Could have had it -1.5 at -108. We decided the extra 14 cents was worth it just to buy.
You can take the spread if you want it. We're just going to go with the money line.
Yep. Either way, we recommend. So, all right, that's going to do it for our first post-Chiefs season show. It's going to do it for Monday, everybody. We do thank you very much for stopping by. Don't forget to, once again, check out our pals Chris King and Jim Williams doing Just Parlays over there, 1:30 p.m. Eastern every single day. Check out all of our sports betting partners, our sportsbook partners there in the show notes. Make sure you hit those links. Get free money. We highly recommend. There's no catch. Like it's not like the bonus situation where you got to roll over, you got to make so many bets. This is an actual free fucking bet. So I know Scott's taking advantages up there in New York. So we highly recommend that you do the same. All right. You guys have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to stop by each and every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, as Scott and I will guide you on your journey as we all attempt to head back to the window. Take care.